Hello and welcome to the Agatebay cutting workshop in Dresden. Today I have some really special agates with me. I don't think I've ever cut a bigger piece than this because most Botswana agate nodules, they're typically in an about 2-inch size, so just around 5-6 centimeters, sometimes 4 centimeters, but rarely more than 3 inches or 7.5 centimeters in size. The Botswana agates that have the rough surface, they all have to have been exported before around the 2000s, because since about that year Botswana made a law that prohibits them from selling any rough stones out of their country. So all kind of stones that they have in their country have to be processed in some sort of way in order to get exported. So I also have one of the pieces that has been exported at a later time. So what they're doing now, instead of exporting the rough agates, is they pre-tumble them just so they are processed in some sort of way, so they don't have the same rough look as the nodules do from the earlier times, because the most outside part of the nodules has already been grinded away. I think we're gonna start off with this piece. I will catch a lot more of the parallax when the banding is more dense in comparison to when I cut it like this, because then there's a lot more room for the banding to develop, so the banding will be further apart from each other and not as concentrated. So I will cut this one right through here. So you can see it has a little bit of the stalactites coming from the top area, but they're not really penetrating deep inside of the stone. A lot of nice fortification banding, no fractures, so this is a pretty good piece. And the stalactite you can see from top and then just completely change direction for some sort of reason. So that's a pretty interesting piece. This piece seemed to have the same sort of stalactites, like the tiny black lines you can see coming here from top. And with the big window you can actually see that there's like tiny little eyes that are penetrating inside of the piece. So I would probably put it in my saw on these two corners, pinch it in, and then cut it for a larger sized round face. This piece turned out really good, and I decided to cut it a little bit closer to the area that was on the top of the stone, just so I can capture a little bit more of the eyes. And I think it was the right decision, because you can see the color here. So I think the deeper down I cut, the less I would have had of this nice banding right here, and it actually looks like a little heart, if you can follow up with that. And yeah, gorgeous eyes all over the rim area in both halves. Yeah, I really couldn't be much more happy with this piece. I think it is a fantastic Botswana agate. This is a pretty solid piece. It has one window here where it seems like it has some fracturing lines, so I don't think it will be a fracture-free piece, but I try to cut it for the biggest volume and also through the volume where the banding is more concentrated, again, like in a cut like this, because if I cut it like this, then the banding will be much wider and there's less chance for a good parallax. So I will cut right next to this window and then cut it right across here, trying to avoid the fractured area here. So I think that's where the fracture is stopping. So cutting from here right next to there, all across the biggest volume, and then right here again. This Botswana agate turned out fantastic. I had no idea, and it's really just outstanding quality with the eyes, the little pseudomorph impression that shapes the banding towards more of the top, and then just great fortification banding in the piece as well. It's really top-notch quality for Botswana, and usually a lot of these pieces are fractured, so I'm quite lucky that I don't have a piece yet that's just like full with fractures. So all of the 3 pieces I've been cutting are really good agates actually. This is probably the largest Botswana agate I've ever cut. It's a pretty easy decision for me on how to cut it, because in this section it seems like it has almost no banding, but it has a few fractures going on. So because there's such a large broken window up top the entire surface here, I have no way of cutting it in any angle like this, despite if I cut it like very close to this very unexciting area over here. So in order to still get a very nice banded piece out of it, hopefully that doesn't have a lot of fractures, I will cut it right in between the 2 windowed pieces. Like this section here and this section is windowed, and I will cut right in between of those, and then cut right down here and somewhere around here. So I will have one half that's relatively shallow, one half that's a lot bigger, but this way I will have a massive Botswana agate specimen. Wow. Hey. Das sieht nach einem wilden Akkurat aus. Wow, Alter. Yeah, this agate couldn't be any more wild than you could have imagined. Look at that. Just agate centers all over the place with like this kind of greenish turquoise colored moss structure penetrating through the entire agate and actually separating it all into the different chambers. Like for this size, this is a fantastic quality piece. It has a little bit of a fracture running through here and then the other half as well, and a little bit of a fracturing here to the side as well, but I think it is a really incredible agate for the size. Like really fantastic Botswana agate. I think it's probably more than 5 inches across, so that is really a spectacular piece. The last piece doesn't give me a lot of choices because it has one large sized window on that side and another large sized window on that side, so I can really just cut in between those 2 windows. So I will keep the cut probably in an about 1/3, 2/3 thickness distribution. And it turned out really fantastic, and actually the smaller side has more developed banding. So here you can see this half is the better half because it has the striking white center, which the other half doesn't have, and that's how quickly sometimes the agates are changing just by the width of less than 2 millimeters of the saw blade. But I think it's another really incredible Botswana agate right here, so really good agate. Overall, I'm super excited with the entire batch. Once more, these are agates way too good to be representative for any Botswana agates I've been cutting in my previous life, because sometimes it can be daunting with cutting a lot of nodules that don't have a lot of banding, a lot of fractures. So these agates are way too good for being representative of cutting any Botswana agates. But yeah, I think there's not one of these pieces that didn't turn out good. So I think I will get all of these polished and put them on my website. All of these are really spectacular pieces, and yeah, if you enjoy these pieces, you can actually get them yourself in my web shop right now. Let me know in the comments which one of these is your favorite, and if you enjoy watching the video, leave it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel so you won't miss any of my future cutting sessions, and thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.